Moving on to agricultural inputs. Agricultural input refers to the resources that are used in farm production, such as chemicals, equipment, feed, seed, energy, etc. Now, labor. As per the Agriculture Labor Inquiry Committee, agricultural laborers are those who derive their major income by working on the farms of others for a wage. An agricultural labor has no right of lease or contract and has no risk in the cultivation of land. He merely works on another person's land for a wage. The agricultural laborers are engaged in agricultural or allied activities, or work for a wage in cash or kind, work full time or part time, whole year or part of year. Now, if we look at the composition of the laborers, agricultural laborers versus total workforce, we see that during 1999 to 2000, agricultural labor was composed of about 59.9% of the total workforce, and it it increased during the time period of 1999 2000 to 2004 and 5, and went up to 259 in absolute terms, but in percentage wise it decreased, and then it steadily started decreasing thereafter till 2011-12, and we see that there is a net reduction of 30.57 millions, that is around 3 crore. Now, moving on, when we see the sectoral composition of employment in India, we see that the the composition of employment in agriculture is steadily declining, and that in manufacturing and services is increasing. However, we see that the increase in manufacturing is more as compared to that in services. Now, moving on to the problems faced by agricultural laborers in India. The first one is marginalization of agricultural workers. While the share of agriculture and allied activities in our country's GDP at factor cost has been constantly decreasing from 55.3% in 1950-51 to 14% in 2011-12 at 2004-5 prices. The workforce in agriculture has increased from 97.2 million in 1951 to around 228 million in 2011-12. This in turn has led to the problem of disguised unemployment, as the number of workers engaged in agriculture is far more than what is required. Now, moving on to labor productivity, the number of workers engaged in agriculture is far more than what is required because industrial growth has been insignificant compared to population growth and has been unable to absorb the surplus labor. This has led to the problem of disguised unemployment, and labor productivity has declined. In India, the labor productivity growth rate for agriculture and allied sectors in the fiscal year 2019 was found to be 6%, which was least productive year as compared to the last fiscal years. Now, looking at the labor productivity growth of agriculture and allied sectors in India, we see that it is constantly declining up till 2016, and then it increased in 2017, and thereafter it is again declining. So 2017 was an outlier in this graph, maybe because of demonetization and stuff. Moving on, wages and income. Agricultural wages and family income are very low in India. Employment and working condition. Agricultural workers have to face problems like unemployment and underemployment due to seasonal nature of agriculture. For a major part of the year, agricultural workers have to remain unemployed as there is no work on farms and alternative sources of employment are not present. Indebtedness. Due to paucity of institutional loans in the rural areas, farmers have to rely on the local money lenders who often lend money at exorbitant interest rates. This pushes farmers into vicious cycle of debt. Has become a major reason for recent rise in farmer suicides. Moving on to low wages for women workers employed in agriculture. Female workers are generally forced to work harder in the fields and are paid less than their male counterparts. Now, feminization of agriculture. Feminization of agriculture refers to the increasing number of female workers in agriculture sector. Economic Survey of 2017-18 says that with the growing rural to urban migration by men, there is feminization of agriculture sector with an increasing number of women in multiple roles as cultivator, entrepreneurs, and laborers. As per the Food and Agricultural Organization, women's contribution to Indian agriculture is about 32%, and according to the census of 2011, out of the total female main workers, 55% were agricultural laborers and 24% were cultivators. Now, there are several positive impact of feminization of agriculture, like as per FAO, if women had the same access to productive resources as men, they could increase yield on farms by 20 to 30%. Research worldwide suggests that women with access to secure land, formal credit, and access to market have greater propensity in making investments in improving harvest, increasing productivity, and improving household food security and nutrition. Women can propel the country towards a second green revolution and they can change the landscape of development if they get an opportunity and facilities. As per Oxfam India, women are responsible for 60 to 80% of the food and 90% of the dairy production, respectively. Now, challenges faced by women in agriculture is as per census of 2011, only 12.8% of the operational landholdings were owned by women, which reflects gender disparity in ownership of land holdings in agriculture. Now, lack of ownership of land does not allow women farmers to approach banks and institutional loans as banks usually consider land as collateral. Now, work by women farmers in crop cultivation, livestock management, or at home often goes unnoticed. Female farmers are generally excluded from modern contract farming arrangements because they lack secure control over land, family labor, and other resources to guarantee delivery of reliable flow of produce. With the ongoing innovation in agriculture and introduction of new technology to automate specific manual labor, women may lose their jobs because they are often responsible for manual duties. Now, women farmers in India often face gender discrimination, lack skills, and insufficient training of women farmers hamper their productivity. Women farmers are poorly represented in society as well as farmer organizations. When compared to men, women generally have less access to resources and modern inputs like seeds and fertilizers to make farming more productive. To encourage more participation of women in agriculture, the following steps can be undertaken. Number one is provisioning of credit without collateral under microfinance initiative of NABARD can be undertaken for women farmers. Women self-help groups can be involved to impart training to women farmers in agriculture related activities. Gender friendly tools and machines for various farm operations need to be deployed for women farmers. Farm machinery, banks, and custom hiring centers can be roped in to provide subsidized rental service to women farmers. Government flagship schemes such as National Food Security Mission, Submission on Seed and Planting Material, and Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana must include women-centric strategies and dedicated expenditure. Now, government measures to encourage women's role in agriculture. The government is earmarking at least 30% of the budget allocation for women beneficiaries in all ongoing schemes and development activities. The government is also giving preference to women under policies such as organic farming, self employment schemes, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, etc. Now, 15th October of every year has been declared as Women Farmers Day. Provision of issuing Kisan credit cards to women have been made. The focus is on connecting women self-help groups to microcredit through capacity building activities and to provide information and ensuring their representation in different decision making bodies. Menace of child labor. The incidence of child labor is very high in the agriculture sector as not only they are easily available but also can be employed at low wages. That'll be it.